I see starting soon. Sounds good.
There
Yeah,
we are.
yeah, sounds good.
Okay, I think we're live now. So
Okay,
joining me,
nice.
thank you everyone who's joined the stream. And I've got a very lovely guest. Actually, my first YouTube buddy, really, the first person who reached out in the very early days of both our channels, actually. So this Serena Rosa, also the first collab I did, and we've been talking about doing another one for ages. And then both of us were busy with life, so we finally been able to make it happen. Serena, how are you doing?
I'm doing very good. Yes, I'm very excited to be here. Yes, you were one of my first like YouTube friends, and at this point now you're my longest I still really talk to. So I'm very excited
Oh,
that we get to have another little chat and stuff.
yeah, exactly. So I don't think I ever told you this story, by the way, but the
Oh.
last time we collabed, we did that pre-recorded. We didn't do it live. The main reason
Mhm.
actually for that was at that point I'd been doing YouTube for almost a year on a €400 laptop, which was built for editing Word documents. And that laptop by that point had been completely fried. So I was at the same time
Oh.
working on the Uber's analysis, and I have very distinct memory of my editing software for this hour-long video, right? It crashed on me every 10 minutes. I lost so much footage from that. It's a total miracle that that video actually finished. So now I've fortunately got a lot better tech and I can actually do this with viewers here. Um,
Oh my gosh, it's hilarious. I didn't know. I did not even know that. Yeah, because I remember I was also on my old computer, and I also had similar tech, a lot of tech issues. So I was also thought it was a miracle that during, like, even just doing like Discord calls sometimes would make my computer crash. So it was also a miracle that like I was even heard and that I could even like talk to you. So it's super funny that we were in like similar situations.
I love that. Yeah. No, it's the same
Yeah.
thing because we tested at the time this Discord recording and I was so sure it wouldn't work. I was so sure it would just crash on me. But somehow we both made it through. And this time, at least I hope your tech is a bit more stable.
Yes, yeah, that's also a big reason why I was finally able to come back because I got a new computer and I could edit on it a lot better. So yeah, so I'm finally in a good tech place, which is really nice.
I'm so glad to hear that. Yeah, so maybe let's get started on the main topic. So we've just finished the France match. We're just had Blue Lock chapter 349. Side B has progressed. So let's maybe just start with the overall. We haven't talked much really since the Ubers match. And
Mhm.
how are you feeling about the U20 World Cup so far?
So far I've been enjoying it. I would say I enjoyed the NEL more so far, but I think that makes sense because the NEL was very much like focused on the characters that we know and love and stuff. So with the U20, it is exciting to get to know new characters, but I think I kind of knew going in that it's gonna expand the world, but like I'm biased towards the characters that we know and love, and I always want to see like their character development and their character growth. So I definitely do like the World Cup so far, but I would say I still favor towards the NEL more, at least
Fair
right
enough.
now.
Yeah. No, I guess that's the same for me as well. But the comparison, of course, isn't quite fair
Yeah.
because the NEL the matches are longer. There's more breathing space. We're still like I guess this is almost if we're judging the NEL by Barcha. Is
Yeah.
how I feel.
Yeah. No, yeah, that's very true. Like, yeah, we are just like getting started. And yeah, it is true that, these matches can't be as long and all that stuff. So that is totally valid. But I am enjoying it so far. I do like it so far.
Good. What's been your highlight of the France match?
My highlight of the France match, I would say this is probably not going to be everybody's take, but one of my highlights was actually the stuff with Hiyori. Hiyori's one of my favorite characters, so I did like to, and Karasu was also like a big highlight for me. I did like the fact that we kind of almost got like the conclusion to like stuff that they started in the NEL with Hiyori and Karasu. And the France match kind of got to like wrap it up and all that stuff. So I thought it was really cool getting to see Hiyori score. And I also very much enjoyed like Baru's goal. I thought Baru's goal was one of the coolest goals of the match. So yeah, I would say those are some of my highlights. What about you?
It's actually very funny because I would have also said Hiyori as well. I'm not
Oh,
sure if
okay.
you saw that by any chance. I even made a whole video on Hiyori's goal and how that kind of expands on the
No, I
ideas
didn't.
of,
I
yeah.
was not glazing. I was not secretly trying to glaze you. I did not see that video. So this, yeah, that was my else. I try not to watch too many people's videos on it before like I do my own video. So no, I didn't know that, but I love that because I didn't really see too many people talking about it as much. That's really cool.
I'm almost a bit bummed out I made that video because otherwise I would have made that really central as well in my upcoming France video. So now it feels like I
Yeah.
can't talk about that as much because I just be copying what I already did. Um,
Hmm.
but yeah. Um, oh, am I super quiet? Thanks for that, Dumb Flame. Let me just see if I can fix that by any chance. Oh, that has to do with the Vocaster. Wait a minute. Give me a moment.
But hope everyone's doing good. Hope everyone's having a good Saturday.
How do I get this up a bit? I can probably just. Let's see what happens now. Is this making any difference? That's partly. Yeah, that's to do with the mic. The mic is a bit soft by default.
Mm.
Let's
You
see.
sound louder to me. Like you sounded fine to me before, but you do sound like louder now. So hopefully it's better for people in the comments.
My pinky hurts.
Oh no.
I'm so sorry to hear that.
Oh no. Sorry about your pinky. Dang.
Let me know if it's any better with the audio. If not, I can see if I can pump it up a bit more even. But oh, it's definitely louder. Okay, I'm glad to hear that.
Okay, good, good.
Yeah, because the cool thing, I'm gonna gush a bit about Hiyori. It's the
Mhm.
main part of the video. There's what I really like in Blue Lock's character writing in general, right, is that all these different characters seem to have like ongoing conflicts, ongoing ideas that keep coming back again. And for Hiyori, it's that if you go back to the Ubers match, it's that he was on this crossroads. He's been told you have to be a striker, you have to be this, you have to be that, and then he tries to embody that, and then he scores, right? Or he doesn't
Mhm.
score, he fails. And then he has this crisis of faith. I wasn't meant to play football. And then he finally aligns his ego with his role in the team and supports Isagi. And then we kind of get this almost full circle moment now in the France match where,
Yeah.
yeah. And it's also right at the moments of the Ubers match kind of where Isagi is made, let's say, king, and Isagi takes on this leadership, and then the France match is the reversal, where his grasp over the team as place number one starts to slip, and that's suddenly the moment that Hiyori also has to rethink his relationship with Isagi, and that was really cool to me.
Yes, yes, I agree. Yeah, it was yeah, because I wasn't expecting them to like really address that stuff in this match. So it was very cool to see. And yeah, I definitely enjoyed that aspect of it.
That when we had Barrow's goal as well, I just crack up every time when I see Barrow's lion actually eating Karasu's crow in the background.
Yeah, but it was pretty funny and stuff. Yeah, because actually my experience with reading the match is I pretty much stopped. I was reading it weekly, and I pretty much stopped reading it pretty much right before Baru's goal.
Mhm.
So I actually got to pretty much read the match once in its entirety because I'm still under like the agreement that like Blue Lock is most enjoyable when you could read it all in one big chunk. And since I wasn't really making content about the current match anyways, I was like, okay, I could pause reading it and then come back to it once it's all done. So it was really cool because obviously it was like the build up with like Shido and you think he's
Mhm.
gonna score and then Baru like comes in and gets the goal and stuff. And yeah, it was very cool and fun.
Yeah, exactly. I guess we have to also, if we're talking about France, talk a bit about the pivotal figure, the one who kind of everything in this match revolves around, which of course Vivian Hugo. Um,
Yeah.
what do you make of him?
So yeah, I think he's an interesting character. I don't he's not like good. I don't think he's gonna be one of my faves, but I think he is one of the most interesting characters that we've come across because he's one of the few characters where his ego is driven by something different. He's not trying to become the best in the world. He's very satisfied and okay with being the second best and all that stuff. And he's okay with like playing a background role to support, the member ones, as long as it like gets him what he wants at the end of the day, which is, he wants to win the World Cup 4 times and stuff. So I thought it was very interesting to finally get a character that was driven by a different type of ego than like we've seen before. And then, the fact that he's trying to like be like Izuki, I see like what your role is, and the fact that his philosophy is kind of built by like creating destiny through a logic, while like Izuki's is all about creating logic. It's all about building destiny through your ego and your own will and luck. So I thought he was a very interesting and cool character, and yeah, I would definitely be excited to see him in like a future match.
Yeah, exactly. And it makes a lot of sense, of course, that there's still Izuki has to at some point give a full answer to Hugo and how Japan can overcome France, the team of complete suitability. So I'm curious about that as well. What I just want to say now, because what I sorry, I just lost my
No,
train
you're
of thought.
good. The
Train of
amount of times that's happened to me, I'm like, what was I gonna say?
Yeah, exactly. I should really be making notes. Actually, I just open a text document. But yeah, I guess what I kind of missed about in Hugo compared to other antagonists is he. I never quite got. He doesn't spark joy in me. I guess that's the biggest thing. So
Yeah,
with
he's not a fun character. He's not as like campy as like Kaiser or some
yeah,
of the other like villains we've had in the past.
yeah, exactly. Where Kaisa is also he's phenomenal from the start to the end. He's memorable from his first moment, and you kind of love him, you kind of hate him, and you learn more and more about him, and he unravels. And then at the end of the arc, you don't even know, should you be rooting for him? Should you be hating him? Do you feel bad for him being put down? Does he deserve it? But he's just, every time he's on the page, he has this really special presence, and I just really enjoyed Kaiser so much. So I'm hoping that, assuming that Hugo is going to be a central figure to the end of Blue Lock, to potentially the final match of the series, I hope we can get some more of that out of him as well, and to see him develop and challenge his own ideas.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely do agree. Yeah, because yeah, Kaiser like went through one of the biggest journeys we've seen in the manga. Like, and it's crazy to think that it was all in one arc, the amount of stuff that Kaiser went through. But yeah, he had so many like ups and downs, and we did really get to see like a change within him and him going through all this stuff. So yeah, I agree with Yugo. It wasn't as much of that, but I guess that was part of what this match was because they won. I guess, Yugo didn't really have to like challenge his own ideology because he had a moment where like in the 1-on-1 between him and Izuki, like Izuki like kind of won it and he was going to score, but then Rin comes and messes it up. So we saw a moment where Yugo was like, oh, like, Izuki, like he's almost about to question himself. But then when they end up winning anyways, he kind of gets to be like, oh yeah, like I was right all along and stuff. And like he doesn't even acknowledge Izuki said that, like, well, I beat you in that 101. And then it's like, well, but they won the match. So I do assume that development will come
Yeah.
when they eventually face France again.
No, exactly. I'm curious to see that for, I guess, all the French team, for Hugo, for Loki, for Charles even.
Yeah, what are your thoughts on Loki? Like, what are your thoughts on Loki getting revealed as a new Gen 11 in general as well? Like when they did that reveal a while back.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of these things. There was a ton of fan discourse about it. Okay, he didn't seem to be an Next Gen 11, but he is obviously a master. And then it's like, okay, how do these relate? I think this is actually, that's not even true, because no, it's kind of true, because look, he got introduced relatively early. I'm not sure if it was always planned to have the Next Gen 11 be as prominent. I know that Sai was introduced as it from chapter 4, I believe, but I can imagine it might have been a throwaway comment at the time. Then Kaneshiro later realized, oh, I can use this concept to give Kaiser some hype, but then you don't really want to rain on Kaiser's parade by also having Loki be revealed as one. But it's a bit odd that we got told so late in the game, even though Loki has been around for quite a while. So it feels a bit clunky, but
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I don't think it was planned to make Loki a new Gen 11. So yeah, I agree that I probably would have preferred if maybe he just wasn't revealed to be one. But I think it's like fair enough. Because yeah, I don't think it was planned and it kind of got tossed in there. And then having France have like 2 new Gen 11s, it was like they were so overpowered going against. You're like, how is Japan to have a chance at this? But yeah, so interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, one thing I actually do really like is the dynamic between Loki and Hugo. This whole idea of, well, we're special, we're this 1 in a million combination. Loki is chosen by the heavens almost, and that this is something that sets them apart. I also feel like, especially with the Hugo backstory, what's kind of highlighted is which is a very Blue Lock thing. Like most major Blue Lock characters have something like that. They don't connect with the people around them. They have some kind of excellence that puts them, I guess, at a remove from society at large, and that they found each other this way through kind of a shared mentality, through a shared understanding and ambition. I really like that. And I think it fleshes out both of them as well, Loki especially.
Yeah. Agreed. Yeah, I definitely agree with that as well. I do think their dynamic was quite interesting, and yeah, to kind of have Hugo be like, oh, like Loki, like and yeah, it really does build up Loki as well, because he already had the thing between him and Charles, so now having the thing between him and Hugo, it is all very interesting. I did like the overall, France dynamic, and I did think it was interesting, and yeah, I'm intrigued to see more of it in the future.
For sure, yeah. Who are you hoping to see for England then as a prominent player? Because I think...
yeah, Augie. I really hope that Augie is there, because I think he's a very cool and interesting character. So I would hope and love to see if he was there, and he gets to kind of be more prominent, because in the NEL he was very much trying to help like Nagi, and then eventually once Nagi goes back to Rayo, he's kind of ordered by Chris Prince to still center the whole thing around Nagi. So I would love to see Augie just be able to like do his own thing, and and all that stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And anyone on the Blue Lock side in particular?
Oh, I mean, everyone knows that my favorite character is Chickadee, and they've been slamming Chickadee. Like they were like, Chickadee's been doing nothing in this arc. They've been downplaying him, and I've been I my thought is that because kind of the thing with Kanashiro is like whoever is the main focus for those matches, that's who's gonna get the attention, the goals, the story
Mhm.
development and stuff. So my thought process was kind of like Chickadee's not going to get his time to shine until the England match. So
Oh, interesting.
obviously, I'm hoping, yeah, that he'll finally, like, we'll finally get, told why he was put on the left side. We'll finally get more insight into his training with the swimming. So I'm really hoping that Chickadee's time to shine is going to come in the England match.
I'd love that as well. Yeah, especially of course because he has the connection with Aggie, he has the connection with
Mhm.
England, and yeah, he's long overdue a serious moment because off the top of my head, by
Yes.
now almost all our major characters have gotten at least something big or big, well, big, but at least a notable moment, and he hasn't really yet. So I'd love for that to happen.
Yeah, yeah, because speaking of like a character that I felt like kind of didn't get too much shine was Kamagami in this match. He kind of had a bit of a moment. He finally got to be put as a defensive player, which is something that a lot of people been calling for a while. So to finally get that acknowledgement that he would be like a good defensive player and have that moment, I thought that was really cool. And then obviously, like, yeah, Bachida had his moment in the last match. I've just been holding out for the Chickadee because being a Chickadee fan is not for the weak right now. They're slandering him
Oh no!
online. Yeah. So I'm just waiting for his moment to shine. So I can be like, see you guys. Like, he's good.
Yeah,
Please.
I'm not worried
Yeah.
about him per se because he got
Yeah.
so much shine in the NEL as Manshine's best player, really. So I believe. I've
Yeah.
no doubts. I can't.
Hmm.
I'm under no impression that Kaneshiro has
Yeah.
forgotten about him and that he'll have a really big moment.
Yes, yeah. So, but with the fandom, it's always like who's scoring right now, who's doing good right now. So even though he did so good in the NEL, people are forgetting. So I'm like, I need you guys to be reminded. But he did have a bit of a cool moment with like him and Loki. Like obviously Loki's like the fastest player we've at
Mhm.
least like seen so far in the manga. So to kind of have like a bit of that speed match with Loki was I thought was a very cool moment as well.
Yeah, I actually have to say he Chigiri got out better than I thought because I was worried it's just going to be okay. Loki's speed is value X, Chigiri's speed is value Y, lower than that of Loki, and that's all there
Mhm.
is. But instead, they actually Chigiri used his abilities together with Karas. I think it was Karas to stop him,
Yes,
and
yeah.
he actually, I think, came out looking quite good from that.
Yeah, yeah, because I was also worried that it was just gonna be like a total demolished, like they aren't even in the realm of things. But yeah, I do agree, like, Chickadee obviously like try to use to the best of his abilities to at least like make it so they could get the ball back. And speaking of Karasu, I think he's one of the biggest highlights. So I'd really love to like chat about him and that
Yes.
he kind of did in this match. Yeah.
I was so happy to see that, even at this stage, so late in the story, Blue Lock is still willing to delve into some of its less prominent characters. The same way that we got
Mhm.
Eukemia suddenly being a major factor in the NEL. This was, yeah, next to Hiyori, my biggest highlight of the match. And it looks like we're even going to get more of him.
Yeah, like yeah, it seems like, yeah, because I thought what was really interesting overall, like what I honestly think that the France match was about, I don't think it was to highlight how strong France is, because I feel like, we knew France was strong and we knew that Blue Lock was probably going to lose in
Mhm.
this match, that Japan was going to lose. I essentially think what a lot of this matchup was about is like challenging, specifically, I think a lot of the things that fans have been saying, like challenging the fact that like is Izaki better as like a
Mhm.
midfielder, and is he better as like a supporting other people, and can he really carry the team as number one? But then I feel like Parasu was also kind of like, he was challenging Ego's philosophy of Blue Lock. He was even saying like, well, Ego tells us that we could all be strikers, but how can Gagamaru be a
Yeah.
striker? How can the defenders be strikers? So he was really like pushing back and like questioning Ego's philosophy. So I feel like that's what this match was kind of about. It was kind of like finally putting to question a lot of the things that fans have been saying over the years, and questioning a lot of like what the core message of Blue Lock is. So I thought it was very interesting for Karasu to like kind of have that moment and to not be afraid to like challenge Ego and to challenge the mindset of Blue Lock. And yeah.
Yeah, exactly. No, and we're seeing that through a lot in the France match. Are you up to like? What do you think? Are we to take away that there are serious issues with the current Japanese approach?
Yeah, I do. I mean, it was quite interesting because, even Ego, even when he was getting pushed back, I mean, I do think, he did kind of have to put some things into question, because even like when they started the France match, I was like, oh, the same lineup, I was like, are we not going to switch things up and
Mhm.
stuff? So I do think the France match revealed that there are some holes in like, Ego and like the way Ego has things and the Blue Lock stuff. And, we are going to have to kind of switch things up more. And I think that's part of the reason why eventually Ego started to lean into like Karasu's strategy a bit more. Like, I don't think he's going to completely give up on like the core of Blue Lock, but I think him like towards the second half finally shifting things towards like Karasu's system, with him acknowledging like, okay, you have good ideas, and I'm willing to change and shift and to not just be stubborn and like only say it's my way or the highway. Because obviously, Ego, he very much wanted to build a system around Izaki and Ren. But
Mhm.
then once he acknowledged that that wasn't going to happen, then he's like, okay, Shido and Baru, they're the jokers, so throw them in, because they're so unpredictable, and let's see what happens. And he kind of let Karasu start taking the lead more. So yeah, I thought that was, I did like the fact that they were at least willing to be like, we acknowledge some things are a bit like the same, and we're willing to like switch it up, and we acknowledge that some things can be shifted and that the philosophy isn't perfect.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, interesting. Because I guess for me, it struck me that so we get the first half, of course, where Ugo
Yeah.
is asking some serious questions, and then right after Ego comes in and he goes, well, if everyone acted according to what they thought was suitable to them, then it would always be right of the strongest. It would always be just whoever is already the best will win, and then we can never have a chance of the World Cup victory. And that's why we need this different approach. Why you can't, at least, why Ugo's answer isn't everything.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm curious where this is going to go. I guess I'm not quite sure. I put out a theory last year. This was before France started, on Kira's return, and that's kind of has to do with Ego indeed gradually being supplanted from Blue Lock. That, and we already got a big passing of the torch moment in the God chapter, which is, I have to say, it might have been my favorite chapter since the end of the NEL. Competing actually with
Yeah.
the what was it called again? Benefactor of My Dreams chapter, the one where Isagi goes home after the NEL, where you also get this sense of there's a pass of the torch. Ego couldn't do it, and then Isagi will take over and realize Ego's dreams, and that would, if Isagi can indeed find the answers where Ego's
Mm-hmm.
lacking and bring everything together, both what Karasu showed indeed that they needed to make changes, they needed to take different approaches. Indeed, not everyone can be a striker, or it's not always for the best of the team if everyone's a striker. So I'm very curious how that's going to go.
Yeah, true. Yeah, I'm not too sure yet as well. I mean, I think yeah that I do agree that the God of Soccer chapter is a very cool chapter, and it sets up so many things. Like, I
Mhm.
definitely also want to make a video just like talking about that whole thing as well, because there's just so many things you could get from it and break down from it. But yeah, I'm not too sure as well, but it definitely does seem that it's setting up quite a few things. And yeah, and kind of what I got from Ego's speech when he was kind of saying like, well, we can't just completely go with what Yugo is saying, is that essentially like the whole reason why he created Blue Lock is because, he's like, okay, Japan's mentality is to be a team and for everyone to do what's suitable for the team and to do like what's best for the team. And he was kind of saying like, if we do that, then we'll just essentially be going back to what Japan was before Blue Lock,
Mhm.
So I do think he acknowledges that maybe it's not 100% his philosophy. It's not 100% Yugo's philosophy or Karsu. I think, he does acknowledge that there has to be some kind of like mix and a bit of everything. And I think a lot of these matches are going to be a lot of trial and error to try to figure out like what is the best fit for Blue Lock, So yeah.
Yeah. No, and I'm very curious what's going to come out of this. Also, what Ego is going to turn out to be from for next chapter, presumably.
Yes.
Yeah, actually, one thing, and I'm not sure if that means anything, but it just really jumped out to me when we got the Karas chapter, the first ones. So the gods that were shown in for Ego is this Yatagaras. I'm not sure if you looked anything up about this because there is actually some symbolism there in that it's the also the what was it, the mascot of the Japanese football union or something.
Oh no, I haven't really looked up anything about it, but I did not know that. Okay,
Yeah, it's been a
interesting.
while since I looked this up, but there's Reddit threads on this in any case where people unpack that a bit. And then, so in any case, right in the next match, we suddenly get the crow player also transforming more and more into a crow. And I was just
Hmm.
thinking, if that is there a connection? Is Karas also set up to have one moments of greatness and then fall? But it doesn't seem that way either. So I'm not sure if this is just a coincidence or if there is some kind of connection. I don't see it yet, but it's just something that really seems to me like there's something going here, something going on.
Yeah, like yeah. I also like have to analyze it a bit more because yeah, I feel like most of the times because Blue Lock was so like self-contained in previous arcs, it was easier to see what the end goal was and where things were leading to. But I do find it a lot harder to know what the end goal is because it's so far into the future and to know where things are going to lead to. So yeah, at this point, I don't know, but that is a very interesting thing to pick up. But it does seem like, yeah, I agree. I didn't think Karasu was going to become more of such a relevant character, but it doesn't seem like, it does seem that he's going to be like a bigger part of the arc than any of us could have anticipated. So I am curious to see where it goes with his character.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Oh, I have a question.
Oh, let's go.
Do
Yeah.
you do you believe in the Izuki is better as a midfielder allegations? Because I remember when like Yugo said that a lot of people felt like vindicated. They're like, we've been saying this for years and all this stuff. So do you think like, Izuki should just, give up on the striker dream and become a midfielder? Or do you see a striker within him and greatness will be upon him, essentially?
Yeah, would I actually like the way the match seems to answer that question. And
Hmm.
so my impression is we go way back to the first selection when Ego talks about, okay, in the dawn of football, there were no roles. Everyone was just trying to score goals. And that's something he wants to go back to, right? He says there are no fixed positions anymore. Everyone should compete against each other. Then eventually, of course, we find out that doesn't quite work, and we get more of a build-up. But at the start already of the Nigeria match, it's made kind of clear, I think, that this is still the ethos, right? Nigeria's shock. The very first goal that Japan scores is not scored by one of their main strikers. It's scored by Bachira, and Nigeria's shocked because they're all anticipating, oh, of course you pass over to the striker. And that, in Bachira's case, that's of course presented as the right thing to do. Kunigami actually is another prime example of this in... it's funny because I agree that he isn't given the amount of screen time that he seems to be due, both in the NEL and now. But every time I still find him used in very functional ways. Because what's actually emphasized about him in the same France match, the match that asks the question of, well, what role should Isagi be taken? Kunigami's put in specifically because he's versatile, because he is, he can be a striker, he can be a defensive midfielder. And so I guess my sense from all of this is Blue Locks is first and foremost not really thinking of, oh, someone should fill a specific role. Someone is a midfielder. Someone is a striker. Same as Hugo scores a goal as well. Even though Hugo says he's never wanted to be a striker, he's always wanted to be a number 2. But that doesn't preclude him from. And my sense is the answer we're given at the end of the match is that what makes Isagi a candidate for world's best, it's not per se a specific skill set or a position, it's a mentality. And it's this mentality of always wanting to overcome someone better than you, always wanting to challenge. And that's what has brought Isagi to greatness throughout the story. He's competed with Rin, he's competed with Kaiser, now he competes with Hugo. And that's actually something we see both Noah and Hugo also talk about, right? So Noah's defining feature in the PXG match is, I want to keep fighting against strong players, and I even want to nurture them so that I have another wall to overcome. So that's something that the manga seems to put on a very high pedestal. So my sense is the answer is, why is Isagi going to become the world's best? It's because he has that same fundamental drive that someone like Noah has, or someone like even Hugo to a certain extent. And that matters more to Blue Lock than your specific position or your skill set. I know it might be a roundabout way of answering, but...
No, yeah, I definitely hear what you're saying, yeah. Yes, I think like a similar thing. Yeah, it's more about a mentality than the actual position. Because the thing is that Izuki he got a taste of what it's like to be at the top, to have all eyes on you, and the moment he saw it slipping, his mentality is like, well, it actually made he didn't get sad, he didn't get angry. It actually fired up his ego, and he's like, even though I'm kind of being ignored right now, even though everyone's attention is on other players, it's actually making me more fired up, and it's making me more excited, So I definitely agree that, it's more about his mentality than the actual position that he plays.
Yeah, but I really like that this match is asking this question now finally, because it's something that's been lingering around even after the Manchan match. I think Isagi had the interview, and that was a question as well. Everyone's saying you'd be a great midfielder, and Isagi says, no, I don't want to be a midfielder. I want to be the world's best striker. And now we're finally getting a bit of insight into, okay, but what does it mean to be a world's best striker? What's it mean for what qualities does Isagi have that could make him such?
Yeah, because it's like, on paper, like, there's so many players that are better strikers than him. It's Baru, it's Rin, it's Shido. So, like, the difference is that, he's got that mentality, and he's like, when he gets knocked down. And I do like the fact that even though he was like knocked down a lot of the times in past arcs, it's like Izuki, he would get very sad, and then he kind of has to figure out like, okay, what's the missing puzzle piece. And it wasn't like he was missing a puzzle piece or
Mhm.
anything like that. I think the NEL has pretty much built up his skills, and what he has everything in his arsenal now. It's just like he just has to keep that mentality now of like hunger and
Mhm.
wanting to keep going and feeling his ego and stuff, because he even tells Yugo like, it's my ego is what drives my destiny. That's what I create my destiny within myself. Because Yugo does it in like a very logical way. He's like, okay, because in Yugo's mind, logically, it's like, okay, the best thing for Japan is for Izuki to be a midfielder and him to support like the better strikers. But in Izuki's mind, he's like, well, I want what's best for me. I'm trying to feel my own thing, and I think what would be best is for me to be the best striker, and that's what drives me, and that's what gives me ego. Because Izuki, if he was put in the midfielder position, then he wouldn't really be himself, and he
Mhm.
really wouldn't really be the Izuki that we know, and he wouldn't have that hunger
Yeah.
and that strive that we know him to have.
Yeah, exactly. I actually really like what you said on that. We're not really getting Izuki learning new skills per se or
Mhm.
unlocking new weapons. That's been one of my personal highlights since PXG, that all of our main characters' developments are really about him learning more about himself, him learning what his deepest drive is. He wants to win, him learning where his adaptability is coming from, this desire to always reinvent himself and learn more about himself. Now his realizing, okay, how do I actually win? It's by rebelling against the strongest players. And that's so cool to me in a manga that is about aligning yourself with your innermost desires, that now finally we're starting to learn more and more about who our main character truly is, and him starting to actually articulate what makes him tick.
Yeah, so I thought that was like very cool and interesting, and something, yeah, that they're doing slightly different from past arcs. And while we're on the topic of Izuki, I would say one of my favorite things that was addressed before the match, but was like Izuki's anxiety and anxieties
Mm-hmm.
that players have, because that hasn't really been a topic that was addressed before. And like we've seen players like go through like sadness and anger and stuff, but the actual anxiety, and even in the
Mm-hmm.
scene where Izuki's like in the bathroom and his hand is shaking and all that stuff. So what were your thoughts on kind of like their take with anxiety and addressing it within Izuki and stuff?
Yeah, no, I really like that we're getting something like this, because Blue Lock does and it doesn't show characters being vulnerable, but
Mm-hmm.
usually not in that way. Not it Like, they're vulnerable when they're confronted with their shortcomings in a match, but just in general having real anxieties. I thought that's quite refreshing, and
Yes.
it's is I'm not sure how much you were tuned into community discourse at the end of the NEL when I think that line single-handedly drove a lot of fan discourse when do you remember how at the end of the NEL, when Izuki scores his final goal, then Rin calls him a demon king? And
Mhm.
from that, there was a lot of fan speculation about, okay, we're now going to get an evil Isagi and he'll become almost this
Oh
antagonist.
yes.
He'll go kind of Eren Yeager-esque.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
I've never really liked that idea as much. And it's
Mhm.
so refreshing to see, no, that's not what's happening. He's not becoming increasingly edgy and just stamping on everyone. I like the way he connects with Onazi. That was also one of my highlights of the past of this arc. I like the way that he challenges Team Nigeria, and now that he's facing all these anxieties, it makes him feel very human.
Mhm. Yes, I definitely agree. And yes, I do recall when people were like, "Oh my gosh, Izuki's gonna go to the dark side." Because I
Yeah.
specifically remember like when they were doing like one of their practice matches, and him and Karasu butted heads.
Yeah.
We're like, "Oh, Izuki's getting a big ego and all that stuff, and he's going to the dark side, and he's gonna just like crash and burn and all that stuff." So yeah, I do like the fact, I do agree that it does make him more human, and I do like the fact that they're, yeah, they highlighted it, and they didn't highlight it as like a weakness. Like Izuki's not weak because he's experiencing anxiety
Mhm.
and nervousness, it's just, it shows that he really cares, and he's just, he wanted to keep being the number one. But I think through this match he realized that it's actually almost better for him when he's at the top spot and gets knocked off, because that's what helps fuels his ego, and that's what makes
Yeah.
him even more excited. So
Mhm.
yeah, I agree with a lot of what you said.
Yeah, exactly. It's the vulnerability is not him being a weak person. It's that he's not in the right place mentally. He hasn't figured out how he actually functions in the community, and that's something that I find really nice to see. There is a place for
Mhm.
everyone, and it's a matter of putting yourself in a position where you can thrive.
Yeah, because oftentimes with the top players, we're shown that they're like so like unshakable, and each of them do have their own slight moments. With Ren, it's like his brother. With Baru, it's him not being king, and so Shido, we don't know with Shido yet. Hopefully the Shido chapter is coming eventually, but we do kind of see. But most of the times they're shown as really strong. So yeah, I did like the fact. And honestly, I did like the fact that we got to see Karasu and Izuki butting heads and
Mhm.
stuff, because yeah, they are all like high performing athletes. They're going to butt heads, because it is kind of always like either we're shown people being like just extremely antagonistic towards Izuki, or they're very friendly with him. So I like with Karasu, it wasn't necessarily that Karasu's trying to be extremely antagonistic towards him. It's just he's more or less sort of like calling him out and challenging him, and then Izuki kind of has to like defend himself and be like, well, this is why I'm thinking the way that I'm thinking. So I thought that was very interesting.
Yeah, exactly. I just quickly. Sorry, I'm getting distracted by one of the things in chat because it's one of my personal bugbears. The So Hope in the Future says one of the reasons for the Isagi going to dark side theory was an interview with Nomura where Nomura says, I hope that you support Isagi until the end. Just
Mm.
for some context, I think this is not so. I think this is an issue where there is a cultural barrier where stuff is getting lost between the cracks. In that, this is a very normal thing to find in Japanese interviews. It's one of these platitudes that Japanese artists and other people kind of in the business of promoting media say a lot. It's please support this. Like, even if you'll see that sometimes in anime or manga, when people meet each other, I hope you will keep supporting my son or something. If a parent meets a teacher, it's that kind of mentality. So
Mhm.
this wasn't a I hope you support him until the end. Dun dun dun. It's just kind of Japanese
He's
culture.
about to go to the dark side,
No,
y'all. Prepare
exactly.
yourself.
I'd love to at some point put that to Nomura, be like, okay, this is what the Western fan base is saying, and he just gets confused by that. Anyway, sorry, I got derailed here. There was something
Yes.
else I actually found interesting in the chat. I'm not sure if you would go. There's been a bit of discussion on if this is going to be the final arc or not, but
Ooh,
we
yeah.
can do that in a moment. One thing I actually wanted to touch on here, Dumb Flames said a while back, I have a theory that Ugo and Noah will be one of the best chemical reactions.
Oh, interesting. Yugo and
Yeah.
Noah. Intriguing. Yeah, because we did see the fact that Yugo in his flashback, he was like, oh, like my most ideal person would be Noah. But then, he obviously is like, oh, but realistically, by the he's like getting older, so I would need someone younger. I'm trying to think. I'm trying to see. I mean, I could definitely see that, because at the end of the day, Yugo is very logical. He's very like
Hmm.
the members say like, what's the most logical thing? And the most logically best striker in the world is Noel
Yeah,
Noah. So
exactly.
ideally, Noel Noah is everything that Hugo would want in a player. So I could definitely see them having like a good chemical reaction.
Yeah, there's a lot of these soft Hugo Noah parallels, and all in together. So you're right, exactly. So the rationality is one. Taken even further, Noah is described throughout the NEL as a machine, and then what do you know? Hugo
Mhm.
has all these gears, and he's also kind of he's like the gear that makes the French team turn, and then eventually that's symbolized by this France being the giant robot, right? So again, there's
Mhm.
something going on here, and also Hugo's line about him wanting to make Japan stronger to ultimately improve France. It's the same thing that Noah said about wanting to raise Kaiser and Loki. So there's just all these small things where I feel like there's surely something that's going to come out of this.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah, because yeah, Noel Noah, he's very much like yeah, he is like essentially a machine, which I think is part of the reason why like he's so emotionless
Yeah.
and like level of facial expressions, which is actually yeah similar to Yuko. He's also like quite an
Yeah.
expressionless person and stuff. Yeah, because they are essentially like machines. And also like as a side note, like some of those gear panels with Yugo were like some of my favorite panels. It was so cool. Like when he was like the half gear and stuff. I thought that was a very cool panel. But yeah, I do agree that they are showing quite a bit of parallels. So I would definitely be, as much as I might not like Noel Noah, I do very much think that, it would be intriguing to see somewhere go with that storyline in future.
Yeah, I just feel like even I'm assuming there will be something down the line, but even if not, you get kind of a picture of there's some parallels between Loki and Noah, there's some parallels between Hugo and Noah, that there is almost this kind of French mentality being set up. And I just like that also because Blue Lock does a bit say every country has its own culture, its own way of doing things, and those that ways that make them strong. And
Mhm.
if that, I definitely felt that there is some overarching idea about what sets France apart as a nation, aside from just Loki and Hugo, and Noah does fit in with that well. So I think that's just a cool thing that's being woven into story.
Yeah, true, true. Yeah, because obviously, yeah, Noah being French. So yeah, that wasn't even something I really like picked up, but that is super
Yeah,
interesting that all the French players are kind of be given like even though they are like Noah's on a separate team, they are still like their nationality, where they are from, is being woven in with like a certain personality and a certain mentality. So I think that is very cool.
yeah. Do you have some thoughts about whether this will or won't be the final arc?
I honestly haven't thought about it too much. I mean, obviously, my personal answer is I hope not, because we all love Blue Lock so much and we want to keep talking about it. But realistically, I honestly don't think it will be, but I don't think that the manga would continue super far after this World Cup. Or maybe a spin-off manga might happen, but I do think we'll still get stuff after this arc just because yeah, like I just can't see the reason for ending it now. So I don't think this will be the last arc, but I don't know what the end game would be because at the end of the day, it's kind of like you could go on, you could keep the story going on forever, but it eventually does have to end. So I could see it not ending after this arc, but I could see it very soon. But I don't think it's going to be like um, you know, a long continuation after this arc because this arc is going to take a very long time. Like we still have quite a bit to go.
Mhm.
So I would see it eventually, the author kind of wanting to eventually wrap it up, and I would see it, yeah, maybe happening soon after this arc. What about you?
I have been of the mind that this is probably going to be the final arc for quite a bit. That has to do with partly this is the event that's been set up from the very start of the story, right? So Blue Lock was originally positioned as a selection for the team that will enter the U20 World Cup. So we're at the finish line, I guess, of the Blue Lock project that was set up by the own story. And there's all these small things that to me feel like this is the culmination of the stories. Whether it's that we're now at the point where we're really getting answers to some of the most important conceptual questions. So what is ego is just coming now. We're getting the moments where the founder of Blue Lock is being explored more as a person. We're getting and a bit tied in with some suggestions of this might be the end of the line for him. We have, I feel like a lot of Blue Lock's main characters are also very close to their most realized version of themselves. So if you look at Bachira in Nigeria, even Rin, although Rin now I first thought his arc kind of came to a close in Nigeria, but now that's in the open again. So I'm not sure about Rin. There's definitely going to be more for him. But yeah, and the one awkward thing is, of course, you need to somehow have Isagi surpass Noah. That's the only factor that I'm struggling with if this is the final arc of the match.
Yeah, because essentially Noah's kind of being set up as like the final big bad, but like how would you make that happen if this is the final arc? Yeah. So that's why I do think we might get some things after this. I don't think it'll be a lot, but I do think that if they do want to address Noah as like the big final bad, I don't know how Kanashiro is going to do it, but I do think, which maybe, the fact that Noah is setting up Kaiser as like the next big striker. Maybe it'll be done through Kaiser. I don't know. I mean, that would be a bit like, so we don't get that Isagi Noah showdown, but I don't know. Yeah. I mean, I feel like that would pretty much be the only way to do it if it's done through Kaiser, essentially.
Interesting. I've got a theory which I've considered making a video on, but everyone will hate it or will kind of point out, oh, this can't work. It's that the final match of the U20 World Cup will have something akin to the start change system or whatever they use for the NEL Masters, basically. That's
when the Masters like come in for like 3 minutes, like
exactly. You'll have Noah gets come in for a few minutes, maybe Ego on the other side as a player to round it out. But I'm sure everyone will say, oh, this can't happen because of the U20 World Cup. I'll get a lot of pushback for that, so I don't dare make this video. Yeah,
according to the Encyclopedia of World Cup, you can't do that. Yeah, I mean, that would be cool. But I do assume that, some rules might have to be bended if we are going to get Noah somehow into the story. So that would be interesting. But yeah, I do think people would hate that and would be like, no, absolutely not. Yeah. Oh my goodness. So yeah. So I mean, honestly, yeah, I hope it doesn't end, but I do agree with you. A lot of things would be like wrapped up in this arc, and so it'd be kind of hard to see where it goes from there. Besides maybe the stuff with Noah, so I do believe we'll get a bit more. How much more? I don't know, but I do love Blue Lock, so I just wanted to keep going. Can it go on for like another 50 years?
I wouldn't mind as long as it manages to retain the current quality. So if there's more for Blue Lock and it stays interesting, then I'm not complaining. Although I have to say, I really hope I don't have to still cover Blue Lock until my 50s.
True, yeah. Just you're trapped in it because it's like, well, it's still going, but we still want to see Blue Lock. Keep going.
That's it. I could. I could keep going for a few more years, but if it's gonna be 10 more, oh god.
Yeah, so it does have to wrap up eventually. All good things must come to an end. But yeah, for now, I'm just, enjoying the ride while I can. So yeah.
Yeah, but I just
Um, yeah,
sorry
go.
to see Sneck is in the chat, my co-writer for the Workout Lost in Translation videos, now also my partner. Hey Sneck, love you.
Oh,
And yeah, she asks, what do you think they might do, or do you think they might do a time skip where after the U20 World Cup they just show the finale of the World Cup?
I could see a version. I do think that if they did continue after the World Cup, like after this arc, then a time skip would likely happen. And I do agree that yeah, maybe not just the finale, but I do think that's why I think maybe a spin-off could happen. Like maybe we get like the World Cup, like as them as adults is its own separate thing and it's like its own mini like maybe yeah, wrap up arc and stuff like that. So it could be interesting. But I do think if it continues, then a time skip would be involved.
Totally fair. Yeah. No, I can imagine that as well. It's not crazy to me. I can't see a big 8-match tournament and then another 8-match tournament. That
Yeah.
seems like a lot, but who knows?
Mhm. Yeah, you know what? If Kanashiro thinks he could do it, I'm not gonna complain. I'm not gonna complain, you know. But
Exactly.
yeah, so but I had a question. Ooh, what do you think of the treatment of specifically, I would say Aiku and Gagamaru, those two characters in this match? What were your thoughts and feelings of their treatment in this match?
Ooh, I could. So I know there's been some criticisms of his performance.
Hmm.
I don't mind it as much because he got some really good showings in the Nigeria match. What I really love, and I tried to get that into my Nigeria analysis, but I just didn't find a place where it fit in the structure. Is he played really that role of final wall for Onazi. Like Rin had this big moment, they had an awakening, or Rin actually didn't, but they were both so close to change the course of history to score a pivotal goal, and then Aiku is the one who, if you're not good enough to be the world's best, then you don't get past Aiku, right? That's kind of the way I see the role he fulfills. So I don't mind that he wasn't as successful here because that's not really what this match was about for me, because France is they're the world champions, or they're not the world champion, they're the contenders for the number one spot. And
Hmm.
so it feels a bit thematically messy to have Aiku have a big moment here. So I don't mind him taking a backseat. For Gakamaka, he didn't get a big moment this match, right?
No, not really. Which I thought was interesting because
Yeah,
they were kind of showing some highlights towards France's goalie. Actually,
yeah.
like France's goalie was kind of getting a bit of shine, so that's why I was like, "Ooh, is maybe Gagamaru gonna get a moment?" But then he kind of didn't. So I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, because it really breaks a very long streak where since the U20 match, I think he's had a major save in every single match he's played, right, as a goalie.
Yeah, so a part of me, fingers crossed, hope that means it's setting up Gagamaru to kind of go through his own mini arc and to kind of have moments like that and stuff. But yeah, I did think it was interesting. As for the Aiku stuff, yeah, what if I liked him to have a bit more of a place in this match? Yes, but I do agree that, yeah, in the last match, he did have a lot of shine, so it makes sense he wouldn't have as much shine in this match and stuff. And I actually do like a little moment that when Karasu and Izuki are butting heads, Aiku's the one that steps in. He's like, "Hey, like both of you guys in your own way is right, but like like let's try." Like he tries to find a resolution for that. It's a good Aiku captain
Yeah.
moment highlight, and further shows like why he was picked as the captain.
Mhm.
I remember a lot of people were saying that Karasu would make a very good captain and stuff, but it kind of shows the reason why like Aiku is
Yeah.
the captain of the team, because he's very much the person that could keep a cool head and kind of like ground everyone and stuff. So I did like that moment. I do hope we get more good Aiku captain moments in the
Yeah.
future. But yeah, specifically for Gagamaru, I do hope he gets some more highlights soon, because he's Gotomaru. He always saves the goal and all that stuff. So I do hope that, we get some maybe more shine for goalies and specifically get more of like a Gagamaru arc. That is a hope for me.
I'd love to see it as well. I'm not sure if I feel like he is definitely going to get something, but I welcome any moment he gets because I like Gagamaru. And you're actually right. I completely forgot about the captain stuff. I meant to say that, but then I got sidetracked as well. But yeah, it's a consistent thing, right? From, what is it, chapter 309, something like that, when we have the first Karas and Isagi clash, then again in the France match, now he's stopping Rin and Shido. He's, as a captain, he seems to be doing quite well, which I like to see.
Yes. Yeah, it's fun to get like good captain moments from him.
Yeah.
I did like that moment within the match.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. Let me just pull that up now. We've been talking about, do you have anything else you want to talk about in relation to the U20 World Cup? Because otherwise I can pull up our bingo.
Oh yes, let me just go through my notes
Yes.
quickly. I think we talked about most of the stuff I wanted to talk about. Did we want to talk about B-side?
Oh, very good. Yeah, that's a good point. Let's talk about side B. Yeah.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on it? I'll let you go first.
Okay, so I guess going back for everything leading up to it, I had... This is completely irrational, right? After the NEL ended, I was slightly annoyed by the amount of Nagi chapters, even though they're really well done. There's amazing chapters, every one of them, and he has a great character arc throughout. I was just like, I want other main characters to get a lot of shine as well, and it's really all just Isagi and Nagi at the moment. But it's been consistently good throughout. I like that just the amount of attention to him gradually growing into someone who can wholeheartedly pursue his desires and no longer just play to be with other people or to meet the expectations of others. That I really like. I think that there's something very cool brewing in the background in relation to Buratsuta trying to stage a coup and Nagi being embroiled in that. I like that the side B is seemingly a polar opposite of what Blue Lock preaches, that now the first match or the first contest of side B is very explicitly a test of teamwork, and that actually, interestingly enough, Nagi has to prove his ability to work in a team concurrently while also proving his value as an egoist. So that's something that's deeply interesting to me. And I like how it's interspliced now. After every match of the U20 World Cup, we get a bit of side B, and I'm also intrigued by Shindo, the new character, who I feel like he's been set up as the antagonist for side B, and I can imagine there's going to be a big clash, Nagi will have to prove his value by defeating Shindo after the England match. So I'm enjoying it. Yeah. How about yourself?
Yeah, I think it's very cool and interesting. I did like the Nagi stuff after and stuff just because I acknowledged like I was like, we know that Nagi's one of they're one of the favorite characters and stuff. So
Mhm.
I thought it was really interesting and intriguing. And then when we were kind of getting side B, I was like, okay, I mean, honestly, I was surprised about Kira coming back. I was of them and I was one of the people that was of the mentality that like, Kira's not gonna
Mhm.
return. And even when he came back inside B, I was still like, he's not coming back. I mean, at this point, I do see a world where he would come back. I mean, I'm still skeptical, and until he is on the team, I'm gonna be like, is he coming back? But I wouldn't mind him coming back. It's just, my thought process of all the things that Kira kind of stood for. I
Mhm.
just don't know how he'll fit back into the story, but I'm not opposed to him coming back. But yeah, I agree. I think it is interesting to kind of see Naki going through this own arc, and yeah, he is kind of being used as a pawn by Barsuta and all that stuff. So to kind of see where that's going to go, because inherently when he comes back to the Japan team, he's going to be treated as an antagonist because his whole
Mhm.
goal is to like
Yeah.
prove Ego's philosophy wrong and all that stuff. To see that conflict, because it's like right as he found his ego and right as he's becoming what Ego always wanted him to be, now he essentially has to come back and be the one to destroy Ego and Ego's
Yeah.
philosophy. I think that's going to be a very interesting conflict that we're going to have to see with his character and to kind of see where it lands and where it goes and all that stuff. But I think it is fun, we get to see, characters come back and all that stuff and get this. And I do like the fact that you pointed out. Like I didn't even think about the fact that the first game is inherently like a teamwork game because two people, pass together. So you have to work with
Mhm.
someone. It's not like you could just be your own individual person like in Blue Lock. So I do think it'd be interesting if we keep getting games where teamwork is needed and then Nagi kind of gets instilled in him the need for teamwork, but then he's going to be faced with like that ego inside
Yeah.
of him and the motivation that he now has. So yeah, I'm intrigued to see where it goes, but I do enjoy it.
Yeah, exactly. I put out a video, I think I mentioned this earlier already last year on it's basically a video on Kira's return for people who hate the idea of Kira returning. And I've had a few comments of people say, oh, okay, this actually does kind of make me feel okay or excited about the possibility. But it's all about how indeed Kira is interwoven in this larger power struggle between Ego and Buratsta. And I always love seeing conflicts within the team in Blue Lock. Those are some of the best moments in the story for me, whether it's Isagi and Kaiza, whether it's Isagi versus Barrow in the 3v3. So if you have a player who's kind of sabotaging or at least not working together with the rest of the team, I think there's going to be good moments out of that.
Yeah, like yeah, because definitely at first I was one of the people who's like, oh, I don't love the idea of Kira coming back, but the
Yeah,
more I thought about it, the more I'm like, okay, I'm warming up to the idea, and
yeah,
I don't dislike Kira as a character. It's just we need to just get to know him a bit more and all that stuff. So it is intriguing to see where it all goes.
for sure.
Hmm.
I see Lessons from Anime ask if we have any predictions about England.
Oh, England.
Shout out to the Brits.
Yes. Yeah, predictions. A lot of people are saying now they don't think England's gonna have a new Gen 11. I do hope that England still has a new Gen 11, and a lot of people think that if they do have a new Gen 11, then they're going to be the worst new Gen 11 inherently because Japan will have to be England in order to, be able to move on. So people are automatically going to be like, well, this new gen is trash and all that stuff. So I hope there's a new gen. I hope we get some big Augie moments and development. I hope we get to see some highlights for Chiggity, and all that stuff. So I know people were thinking maybe Nagi would come back for England, but yeah, I don't think that's gonna happen at this point. I think, it's just gonna kind of we'll get updates about him
Mhm.
after each match, and then eventually once this stage is done, then he'll come back. It would be cool if he came back that soon, but yeah, I don't think it's gonna happen. But yeah, I hope England I hope it's a good match. I hope it's a close match. The very end, we don't know what's gonna happen. But yeah, my hope, Tiggity, Tiggity gonna go crazy. That's my hope.
I'd love to see it. I'm down for that.
Yeah.
My biggest hope is actually that, and that's kind of going against the Chigiri agenda, unfortunately. I
So
really hope that the starting lineup for the England match is going to be the lineup that was in at the end of the France match, so that we're going to get Bago, Shido, Kunigami, Otoya, and that it's gonna explore more of how Team Japan functions in line with the questions about what ego is, and that seem to be raised right now. So that's my biggest hope. And I can easily imagine that Chigiri gets swapped in the second half and then gets to shine.
yeah, yeah, I'm definitely not opposed to the idea that, he gets swapped in later. And I do think change up in the lineups it would be fun to see. So I'm not against it.
But yeah, other than that, I find it really hard to tell what to expect from England. There's
Yeah, it's been very hush hush. We haven't really gotten anything, like even hints of it. Because obviously we knew Loki was coming up, and then they teased the fact that he was a new Gen 11 and then all that stuff. So we were at least getting like build up to it. But I mean, I hope in the next chapter we start to get build up for what's to come. So we can at least start to speculate. Because I really don't know.
Yeah, exactly. I find it so hard to tell as well. It will probably be the closest match so far that Japan will probably struggle a lot more than against Nigeria, and I'm looking forward to that.
Yes, I want it to be like very close to the end. You don't know. It's tied, and it's like who's gonna get it, So yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, lessons for Anastasia said, nah, bloke, fella's gonna be the best new Gen 11 with his Oi mate. That's his special move.
Yes.
Oh, it's just Kaiser with a British accent. He's in disguise.
Love to see it.
Oh my gosh. But yeah, that's pretty much all the things that I had to discuss in regards to the France stuff. So if you wanted to pull up the bingo, I'm totally down.
Yes. So just for context, for people who are like, I don't know, have been subscribed to either of us for 2+ years, Serena put out a series of predictions for the PXG match right before PXG started, and then I was like, oh, that's kind of fun. I can put those into a bingo and then also put out my own predictions. And we never checked how we did. So this is 2 years overdue. But I didn't have a look actually what's on our bingo. I'm probably going to be horrifically wrong on every front. So let's see. Is this... Yeah, there we go. Let me just pull OBS here so I can actually see that we're... Okay, so let's... Is this visible?
I don't see it on the screen yet, but it is a bit behind, so... Okay, yes, I see it now.
Great. I'll just throw those onto Discord as well, so you have them in real time.
Sure, sounds good.
Yeah, so... Here.
Yes, I had checked these, and so I also know that quite a few of mine is not going to be the best. Oh, thank you. Yes. Who do you want to go through first?
I'll do yours first.
Okay, let's take a look at mine. So, Ikagori does not make the top 23. Okay, I did get that right.
Yeah.
just because like my thought process of that was kind of like I just didn't see what would be next for his character. It's kind of I felt like the author had many moments to kind of grow his character and to, finally, make him more involved in the story. But I saw that even in the NEL, he was still being treated as like the comedy relief. So I thought even if he kind of did have a big moment in the PXG, it just wouldn't be enough to make him go up to the top 23. A part of me thinks that he might still like come back in some kind of other capacity and stuff, just because I know the author really does love him as a
Mhm.
character. But yeah, so
Yeah.
that one I got.
Yeah, you've got it.
Karsu
How did
gets
you like his
notification.
moments, by the way, in PXG?
Igagori or
Yeah.
Karsu.
Ikaguri.
Oh, Ikagori. I actually liked the arc that he got. That moment where, Izuki like tells him that, you did a good job and all the
Mhm.
memories are flashing back for him and stuff. I thought it was a well done moment. I do wish that maybe we got a serious moment with him a bit sooner before the PXG match and we kind of got to see him try like a little bit more sooner, just so it kind of could have been a bit more like, ooh, is he gonna make it? But I do like the fact, and then the fact that after him and Nagi kind of get together, and he tells Nagi like to keep going, and to
Yeah.
kind of gives him that pep talk and stuff. So I do like post I do like the things that the author did with him towards the end, because I
Yeah.
was one of those people that was like, did Ikagori's humor wasn't my favorite type of
Yeah.
humor, so I wasn't the biggest fan of him as a character. I
Mhm.
didn't hate him as much as like other people did, but yeah, I did like the little bit of stuff that we did get with him towards the end.
Yeah. It actually surpassed my expectations of
Hmm.
how great his moments would be. So I was very pleasantly
Yeah.
surprised. So you got the next one right as well, I see. Chaos gets Vision. Yep, check.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, okay, maybe I did do a bit better because I'm not gonna lie. The first time I read the match, Karasu's Metavision moment was so tiny that I actually missed it the first time. It was only post I was editing. I was looking at Metavision players and I was
Mhm.
like, wait, Karasu has Metavision, and then I had to go back and I was like, oh, he does. It was such like a low key moment. I
Mhm.
completely missed it. So um, Ren gets Metavision, and I understand why now
Mhm.
he didn't get
Yeah.
Metavision because it probably is more like the what are they called? My brain's blanking. It's like
The ego types
the
things, you mean?
yes, yeah, the ego types and stuff. So
Yeah.
because I was so convinced, I was like, of course Ren's gonna get Metavision, but I
Mhm.
understand now why
Yeah,
he
exactly.
didn't.
Off the top of my head, it's world types get or talented learners get
Hmm.
Metavision and wait, sorry, there's two axes and restriction types get Predator Eye.
Yeah, yeah, it's like something like
Yeah,
that and stuff. So once they explained it, I was like, okay, fair enough, fair enough. Which
yeah,
I actually do like one of my favorite moments, like introductions is like the whole talented learners versus like
hmm
um, yeah, like all those things. Like I thought that was really a really cool inclusion into the world and the logic. So yeah.
hmm Okay.
Next we got Zentetsu gets an eye ability. I am so sad. The
Oh,
way I would had so much Zentetsu glaze. I thought Zentetsu was gonna go crazy in the match. I thought we were gonna get so much Zentetsu like stuff and moments. So I'm really sad. It hurts my heart
oh,
that Zentetsu didn't really get a highlight because I really liked him as a character.
yeah, that's a shame for sure.
So, yeah, because my logic was that like Loki's a speedster, then Tetsu's main thing is his acceleration. So I figured, like a lot of people speculated that Loki kind of had an ability that was specifically had to do with speed because they
Hmm
kind of went back all the way to I think it was the World Five
Yeah.
match. His eyes kind of had like a unique design, and he's like, I see holes of like weakness all over, and then he
hmm
like speeds past them. A lot of people
Oh,
speculated that could be ability, like with your speed, you could kind of see where people's weakest points are, and then you could use your
oh,
speed to like get past them. Yeah. So that was the logic behind that one, and I was really hoping that Zentetsu would kind of get something, but unfortunately he did not. So and it ties into the next one, which is Neru. Justice for Neru is used to stop Sentetsu.
It
I actually love to hear your thoughts on this. Why do you think the author never utilized Neru on the Bastard team, and he was the only person that was not utilized? Like, do you think it was just timing issues, or he just didn't have an interest in the character? Like, I'd love to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, I'm so sad. Neru breaks my heart as well. I just think there's only so many characters you can create emotional investment for by highlighting them and having them be eliminated. And if you get a really big moment for Nagi and also kind of Igaguri as secondary elimination, if you're spreading it, if you've got too many characters eliminated, it's hard to do dramatic focus on the things you really want to highlight. So probably it's just Kaneshiro knew from the start, I'm not going to keep Neru in because there are more characters I'm more interested in. Therefore, I'm just not going to make him play because then I've got to write a farewell scene or something to that effect, which I get. But it's a shame because I was quite excited for him as well. I thought I had a prediction for him too, but we'll see.
Yeah, so justice for Neru. I
Justice
mean,
for
I
Neru.
blame Noel Noah. I say it's Noel Noah's fault, always and forever. So, so yeah. I mean, I would have loved if he came back for side B, but I guess not.
Yeah.
So wild card flashback. We didn't get one, right? If I'm
No.
recalling correctly. No, yeah. And yeah, I kind of understand, wild card. I mean, kind of a lot of people said like we kind of know what happened in wild card. Like Kamagami said it was like this endurance test, and like his body was made to be compatible with Noel Noah. I always thought, okay, he came back so messed up. He came back so different. So part of me thought there was a bit more to the story, and I just wanted to see like if we would get a flashback and kind of see what that more could have been. But I think at this point we're well past like anything in regards to the wild card. So I was like, if we don't get it in this match, then we're never really gonna get it.
Yeah, which is a shame to me because I think there is space for it, but it might just not happen. So, yes,
Yeah.
slightly disappointed that we didn't get it as well.
Izuki's scores.
Yes, twice even.
Yes. So yeah, and my thought process behind that one is like, yeah, I just figured, it makes sense for the story, kind of the whole king storyline between him and Kaiser and who is going to be the ultimate person that wins. And obviously we see it ends up being Izuki. He wins. And part of that was, Kaiser after getting blinded by like Izuki and him pushing Nessa aside and that kind of being his ultimate downfall and him having to learn from that. So
Yeah.
yeah.
No, that makes total sense to me. Yes.
Exciting stuff from Kyorigin. I remember we were talking about Kyorigin so
Yes.
much.
We
It kind
were.
of became the Kyorigin podcast. We were talking so much about him.
Okay, I'll leave this to you. Was the stuff we got from Kiora exciting?
I mean, it was only one moment. So if I had said an exciting moment from Kiora, then I would give it. But I said stuff, and I feel like stuff implies plural, so I won't give it to myself.
Okay.
I thought he was going to be a bit more involved in the story than he was, because I did think the scene was, interesting, because like a lot of people did because I actually had in my full on video, I had predicted that he was going to play a more neutral role. I had discussed that. Like I didn't think that he was gonna go necessarily be like, oh, I'm going with Izuki, I'm going with Kaiser. He was just going to do whatever was best for him at that moment, and I thought that made the most sense because I'm like, if this is your first time playing, then you don't care about the discourse that's going on in your team. You're gonna try to do what's best for you in that moment. But I thought it made sense that he would just go with whoever would benefit him the most in that moment, and it was Kaiser. So I thought it was a cool moment, but I wouldn't classify it as stuff.
Okay, fair. Yeah, because for me, definitely the moment was very cool. I love the line we got from Kiora. Like, what is it until the very end, even God doesn't know who I passed to, or something
Yes.
to that effect. I thought that was very cool scene, the pose as well.
Yeah. I thought that was so tough. So I was like, oh, Kiora about to go crazy. He
Yeah,
about, and then we never really saw him again after that. I was like,
yeah.
oh damn, okay.
Sad
So
days.
yeah. Yeah. So but it is at least nice that, we did at least get some highlight of Kiora. And I hope in a future match they do bring him in and we do get some stuff from
Yeah.
him.
It feels like there's something that's still waiting for him, if only because he has this big Chekhov's gun line. So I look forward to that.
Yes, yes. I'm intrigued to see where it goes. Next, we have Karasu Lights Yori's Passion. And yeah, we didn't really get that. I mean, it actually wasn't, who knew it wouldn't be until this match, like a
Yeah.
different France match, that we
Yeah.
would finally get it. So yeah, it didn't happen here. There wasn't really too much of a Yori and Karasu focus because, yeah, I guess maybe the author knew he did want to explore it in
Yeah.
the future arc. So
Yeah.
it didn't happen here. Wrong France moment.
Although there was, let me just pull that up. Sorry, there was one interaction between the two of them, right? Where, let me just.
Yeah, it's also been so long. So if I'm misremembering anything, then yes, please let me know.
Where will be probably volume 32. Let me just double check. Sorry, that's the wrong one. It's so towards the end somewhere.
Oh, someone had something interesting to say while you're looking for that. We actually know that Neru's role in the NEL would have originally been Corona's, but they gave the role to Corona. I don't remember the reason why, but they changed it. So that could be a possibility that I don't know, maybe if the author talked about it in an interview or something, but maybe originally, yeah, maybe it was because I do remember that I do think I saw somewhere that Corona kind of becoming a relevant character in this arc was like a last minute decision on the author's end. So there is a possibility that maybe it was supposed to go to Neru, but then it went to someone else. But I feel like it makes sense for the type of character that Corona is for it to go to him.
Yeah, exactly. I actually didn't know that Corona wasn't planned. What's the source for that, out of curiosity, if you happen to know, to the commentary to Dav?
I can't remember. I felt like I saw somewhere. I would have to search for it, but I thought I saw somewhere that there was some kind of discussion about that. But maybe that was more of a discussion than something that the author said. But if I find it, then I definitely will send it to you.
Please do, and I'll be curious to see that. Okay, so here's the moment, right? So where do we go?
Yes.
Hiyori is about to pass. Karas says, "Oh, someone's sure is getting fired up," and stands in his way. Hiyori talks about Karas being the one who got him excited about his own ego, and then if he can't surpass Karas, a new egoist can't be born. And then where are we here?
Oh, okay.
So there's a split-second moment. Hiyori goes and he has this stop and boost scene where he gets past Karas, and that's kind of his final big moment of the match.
Oh, okay.
So
I completely missed. Yeah, so kind of. So
I'll give it to you.
Okay. Yeah, I'll give it to myself then. Yeah, I completely forgot about that. So I'll give it to myself then.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
If Hiyori says that this is his big test for the rebirth of a new egoist, then I say that counts. Okay, I think the next one's going to make you sad.
Yeah, Kuwagami scores. So that was another thing that like had so much anticipation going into the match, the whole Kumagami versus Shido. And then they had brief moments, but it really, because I think something that I wasn't expecting, that there would be so much focus on Kaiser. And I understand now
Mhm.
because obviously Kaiser is being set up as like the big villain, like one of the big villains for this arc and stuff, and the rematch between him and Izuki. But yeah, I wasn't expecting that so much attention was going to be put on Kaiser. And a part of me wishes that maybe like some of it was saved for when we see him again, and some of that panel time could have gone towards Shido and Kimigami. Because my sort of thought process is this
Mhm.
is the only time that we can have this moment between
Yeah.
Kimigami and Shido, like them finally having that confrontation, the thing that, all that. So yeah, a part of me is disappointed that there wasn't more moments between them. So yeah,
Yeah.
what your thoughts on that?
No, I broadly agree with that. That it felt like there was something, it was acknowledged, but it wasn't as strong of a moment as it could have been. Yeah, I keep coming back to that, right? Where Kunigami is used in purposeful ways. I have a section on him in my PXG analysis. I kind of like what's done to him, but at the same time, I don't.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure if I would have ever thought that he scores per se, but I do fully agree that the way he was framed at the start of the arc warrants him to have a bigger role in his conclusion.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a shame he
Yeah, because
didn't.
even if he didn't score, then yeah, him at least having like been more involved would have been nice. But I do understand because I inherently thought Kamigami scoring went with my next thing, which obviously now I see like it
Yeah.
was a big swing, but the 3 goal rule changes, and this is actually one of my most viewed videos.
Yeah, exactly.
They had a prediction that the 3 goal rule was going to change, and inherently I thought just because there were so many like because this was the final match, because there were so many arcs and stories going into this, like a part of me thought, okay, like for the author to have enough time to explore this, then a rule change. But I did
Mhm.
kind of figure that it was a big swing, and I definitely did miss. But it would have been cool if it
Yeah.
happened.
No, exactly. I remember as well that your video was blowing up at the time, so at least you got some
Yes.
traction out of that one.
Yeah, at least I got some good views and all that. So
Yeah.
yeah. Mhm. And then new eye ability revealed. Yeah, we didn't, from what I recall, we didn't like we got the
No.
reveal of like the talented learners and all that, and like all the different ego types and stuff, but there was not like a inherently a new eye ability that was revealed along with that.
No,
Okay.
unfortunately not. Next one you have though.
Yes. Yes, Kiora plays a neutral role. So
Oh.
yeah, so this is very much like yeah, I explained it, but yeah, I was like, this is pretty much the only role he could play. So I figured. I'm actually happy I was wrong about this one, but
Yeah.
Nanase does not make the top 23. I'm happy I got this one wrong because I actually thought the arc that Nagi got was going to go to Nanase, which is like I thought that Nanase was going to kind of like have a big moment where he tries really hard, but then just doesn't. It's not enough, and then it's a very emotional moment I my thought was that he was going to be the biggest character besides like Igagori, that was going to get cut. So it was going to kind of be like the big, like he was going to have the big emotional moment because it's kind of like, oh, we've known him for so long now and he's getting cut and stuff. I didn't anticipate the Nagi getting cut. I knew Nagi was obviously going downhill, but I didn't, and I thought maybe it was just that Ego was going to bench him for the first couple of matches and then he would kind of have to work to prove himself. I didn't think it would be like a full on cut. So the things I thought was going to happen to Nanase ended up happening to Nagi, which obviously made it even more shocking since
Yeah.
Nagi's like one of the biggest characters.
Yeah, exactly. I just remember when that chapter dropped because I've always read weekly. I read it kind of, I just came back from work. I was in the kitchen warming up food, and I was just standing there, kind of, I don't know, shook. And you have
Yeah.
this scene where, you see all the I won't say bounties, all the, but this isn't One Piece, all the bids
Yeah.
coming in one
The
after the
bounties
other.
on the
And I just see. Okay, I see where this is going. I see where this is going. Nagi's not going to make it. I was still holding out hope or something. My heart was beating in my chest, and then the final moment comes. That was a
Yeah.
wild chapter.
Yeah. And it definitely wish like I was in the community when that was still dropped because like I could only imagine because I was still on my hiatus.
Mm.
And then one of my friends, she was actually the one that told me, she's like, "Hey, did you know Nagi got eliminated?" And
What?
I thought she was trying to prank me. I was like, so like that's not funny. Like, why are
Yeah.
you trying to prank me right now? She's like, I'm not joking. And so then I like opened up the manga and I hadn't been
Yeah.
keeping up weekly because I was taking my major hiatus.
Mm.
So I read the chapter and I was like, oh my God,
Yeah.
Nagi got eliminated. What the heck is
Yeah.
going on? So I was like freaking out. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah. I think that was the period with the most community activity I remember since I've been part of it.
Yeah.
Now, I've never been super large in the community or keeping track of it, but everyone was rattled by that chapter.
I could only imagine how insane
Yeah.
it probably was. Next is Igor fouls someone. So
Yes, more than once.
yeah, because I was like, that's pretty much the only role that he can play, and I kind of tied into he doesn't make the top 23 because I was like, if he's just gonna foul people, then he's
Mhm.
not gonna make the top 23. So yeah, and then we have Rin scores.
Yep, which we also have.
Okay, I got way more than I thought I did. I thought I was gonna get like one or two, honestly.
Yeah, though you have 7 out of 16, so that's nearly half.
Yeah, so it's a lot better than I thought I was gonna do. Yeah, I mean kind of the biggest things is I kind of overestimated, Zentetsu's role. I overestimated Kamigami's role.
Mhm.
So I think if I had switched up those, then I would have gotten more things right. I just really wasn't anticipating how big of a role I thought Kaiser is going to play. Like,
Mm.
obviously, I knew there had to be a conclusion to the whole Izuki and Kaiser, like, who will be king and sort of thing.
Mhm.
But yeah, I just didn't anticipate that it was essentially going to be like the secondary story next to Rin and Izuki. So yeah.
Fair, yeah. So
Mhm.
let's then get. Oh, this is not looking
Yes.
good. I'm already seeing the stuff I put in there.
Yes. Let's see. Let's see.
Yeah, so Ness gets subbed out. I guess I predicted that he was. Because he was getting more and more deranged as the arc progressed, and Kaiser was giving him more and more flack, and then we got the flashback to Ness's past, and that's then juxtaposed to him being completely delusional. So I felt like that there was something big for him happening, and that he would have to grapple with his devotion to Kaiser, and that would cost him, which it did, but it didn't cost him in the way that I predicted.
Yeah, like I definitely did think that Ness's arc was like I thought it was pretty interesting. Like I just felt really bad for him. Like I've always felt bad for Ness. I've never been of the mentality of, like I dislike Ness just because I acknowledge that his dynamic was really like, I did that whole video about like
Yeah.
toxic codependency and stuff. So
Yeah.
I acknowledge that like they've always had a really toxic
Mhm.
dynamic and what that's done to Ness. So I've always just felt bad for Ness. So I remember just out loud reading the chapter being like, Ness, stand up. Like, Ness,
Yeah.
please stand up
Yeah.
so many times.
I really like Ness. Honestly, his flashback is one of my favorite chapters in the story, even. So,
Yes. I think it's yeah, I think Ness is a very interesting character to analyze. Like I could make so many videos on Ness. He is so intriguing
yeah,
to analyze and talk about.
perfect. Noah abandons pure rationality. That was also not in the cards.
Yeah, and yeah, that's when, with Noah, the big reveal and all that stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, I guess again, where it's always interesting to see where I went wrong because I kind of understand my thought processes. Basically, I would say the NEL is about. So, Master München is a team of rationality, and as the arc progresses, first Isagi, then Kaiser abandons it, and they start acting irrationally, right? And I felt there was something coming out of that. And so I thought the answer is, well, rationality isn't the be-all, end-all. Actually turned the other way around, that the whole story of Bastard München is of how eventually Isagi and Kaiser do find rationality in their own way and then become stronger than Bastard München originally was. So it turned out to be the complete opposite.
Yeah.
Okay, third one though, I didn't expect to get that right from the get-go.
It was immediate.
Yeah, it was immediate. So the score.
Let's see that one. I do like that how they handled it though. Like they were like, Shido and Rin, they both had their own mini, like Loki was doing like trial and error, and then, the final conclusion was to just put them both on the field and to give them both their own mini support team. So I did think that was interesting and cool.
I like that as well, definitely. Fandom is bored after 15 chapters.
I'll definitely give you that one because I know they were.
Let me actually just double check now. I want to know what's. I'm pretty sure PXG starts in chapter 200. What is?
Oh, Suki's in chat.
48.
He said,
"Oh, hey, Suki.
Hi.
Good to see you,
He
man.
says we need more Ness. And he says, Sigil, do you think the new gen could be arrogant? What character arc the English new gen? What type of personality are you predicting for him if you think he'll be arrogant?
I really don't know I assume he'll be arrogant because we see a certain type of personality among many of the next Gen 11s. So they are all confident. I thought at first, now I'm coming back a bit on that because Loki and Hugo kind of proved that wrong. I had the sense of a lot of the original Next Gen 11s, Sai, Kaiser especially, were troubled, were not quite settled yet, and that they were also still struggling within the system that seems to be exploitative. So I thought originally, actually, when Hugo was first introduced with his philosophy, this is going to be evidence that he is he has some deep-seated trauma that made him believe in something like that he only can be second best, and that turned out not to be the case. But also, I like the idea of these next. Bunny being the other one, of course, very obviously, where they're all or a lot of them seem to be very depressed and everything. So
very cool, yeah.
I like the idea fundamentally of them having something where they've been screwed over by the system, where they are going through things. So I hope that's the case for the England Next Gen 11 as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, agree.
And thanks, Suki. 249. So that brings us to chapter 264. Now I just want to know where that was that's going to be... it's 264. That's Kaiser's goal. No, people were definitely not bored.
Oh,
no, I'm not. I can't give myself that. That was...
Oh, no.
Actually...
I really thought you'd get that one.
No. One of the most memorable fandom moments for me is you have the chapter... Is it this one? Yeah, it's here. The one ending with Ness getting the ball. And then for some reason we had a 2-week break, and I've never seen, because agendas were full on. At the time, there was a camp of Isagi hat trick, and there was a camp of Kaiza is going to score, and the fandom devolved into kind of this rabid beast that I've never seen it before, because everyone was so passionate about this. Is Kaiza or isn't he going to score right now? So we were not bored of PXG at the time.
Okay. Fair enough. Dang. Oh, I guess you don't get that one.
Oh no, I'm not getting the next one either. I liked it so much, but I don't think Karas gave Hiyori a nod of approval.
I thought that was really funny, and I really wanted it to happen.
So did I. Oh, this wild card prediction. Okay, so you had wild card, and I went more specific. I said he eliminated a Team Z member. No, it didn't happen. So.
Yeah, because our thought process was kind of like it's gonna flash back and show that part of what makes Komagami so traumatized is that he was having to eliminate like his old teammates and stuff. But no, we did not get any of that, sadly.
No. Okay. I also have Rinskoren, so I'll take that one.
Nice.
The next one was I was kind of memeing and kind of wasn't. Rinor Kaiser developed Murderer Eye.
What was the thought process?
Right, so it's kind of the same. You had in a lot of cases, you say something like new eye ability revealed. I was on board with that, but I felt like it's boring to just copy what you're doing. So I'm going to do something. We're going to meme a bit or make it more specific. But yeah, basically, I put out my big analysis of the NEL is called Vision of the World's Best. And the main argument is that the entire NEL is about the concept of vision, about that become the world's best is both like you need a vision metaphorically where Isagi has to see himself as surpassing Noah, and also you need real vision, which he gets in metavision. And that's something I was already I had the basic framework for that analysis done before PXG started. So that was also why eyesight abilities were very much on my mind.
Yeah, because it was just kind of becoming a theme at this point that all these abilities were getting revealed like every single match. So I was like, of course something's gonna get revealed in the PXG match.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so Shido humiliates Kunigami with a goal. Ooh, because we got the goal, but I don't think it wasn't necessarily Kunigami who wasn't involved in that, was he?
Yeah, from what I could recall, it wasn't like at first Shido wasn't even remembering Komagami, and then they did kind of have their little moment, but they had so little interaction that I very much think that Shido's gold had nothing to do with Komagami. Yeah.
No, I can't claim that one. That's a shame. Monk's feet is not a foul. Well,
yeah.
What can I
say? You had hopes. You had high hopes for the monk.
No, I guess my thinking was if he is going to pass, then it won't be by fouling.
Yeah, inherently he would have to do more.
Yeah, exactly. So I was like, you know what? I'll just put this down and see what happens.
Oh no, I'm seeing the next one.
Yeah. We both had hope, and it just didn't happen.
Justice for Naru.
Justice for Naru.
Damn.
Okay. Kaiser scores. I have that though.
A lot of people thought this was going to be like a complete Kaiser like meltdown, like he was just going to completely flop in this match and stuff. So, and he did lose, but it wasn't like a complete meltdown like people anticipated it to be.
Yeah, exactly. I guess I felt that he still needed to show something, that there was something in the cards for him, which, was the case. And it's one of the best goals in all of Blue Lock, if not the best. So,
yes, it's amazing.
Yeah, I think I've told this on stream before, but the chapter came out. I was collaborating with one of my viewers on my Queer Narratives Blue Lock video at the time, and we scheduled a few meetings where we kind of discussed progress, or mostly his progress. I wasn't making much progress myself at the time, but anyways, so we were chatting about stuff, and then we just see, oh, the chapter dropped. And Riley, my co-writer, had already read the spoilers. I hadn't. And he said, no, go out of the call now. You have to read this chapter. And I was like,
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was in Greece at the time as well. I was doing a research trip. And I was like, okay, yeah, no. So I went out of the call,
It's
read
amazing
it,
goal.
and I was
Yeah.
like, whoa, this was more than I could ever imagine. So I have very vivid memories of that chapter as well.
Nice.
3 death threats from Rin.
I can't remember.
I think I might actually have this. Wait a minute, where are we? This is right after Kaisa scores. Sorry.
I wouldn't be surprised. It's Rin after all.
I know the exact interaction I'm looking for. I think I have this. It is the... Oh, it's only once. He said, here, I'll kill you. So there's at least one death threat.
Yeah, you got one.
Is there more than one?
I don't know.
This is one where I think I might tentatively have it, but I can't be arsed to go through all of PXG to... Oh,
Yeah.
But actually what I can do, I'm just going to go full nerdy. You may entertain chat for a moment, because I can do this is all thanks to Steck. I can do text searches in the Japanese version. So I can just see if
yeah,
I
sure.
can basically control F blue lock in Japanese, but I have to look up what the Japanese phrase is for this.
Sounds good. I will go through chat and talk while you're looking. Suki said, OMG, me and Animage were going to boycott if Narcissus Izuki and got a hat trick. I remember that 2-week break. Love how back in PXG, this is, it was Neru stops Loki, and in France we thought it'd be the Tetsu stops Loki, and neither happened. Someone said, what are your predictions for the next chapter? My thoughts, I assume, because it ended with a question with Izuki being like, what is ego? So I'm assuming we're going to kind of get like, I mean, honestly, what I would love it to be is that we get to personally hear the majority of the main characters, like what does ego mean to them? And we kind of get a farther insight into their thought process of like what they believe their ego to be. I think that would be a cool moment. I don't know if we'll get it. And then I'm assuming we're gonna, I mean, it's kind of been like, B-side has been like its own chapter most of the times. I mean, the last one was split, so I'm assuming we'll get some more B-side. We'll get to see some of the progress there, and then my hopes is that the chapter ends with like a hint of what's coming up for England, like maybe a little sneak peek. Maybe we see Augie, just a little look of Augie, and we get hyped for the England match. That would be my thought. In my opinion, it's going to be a discussion that covers what exactly ego is, and that discussion will probably involve the difference between id. Oh, I forget. Yeah, id versus and ego. Okay. Interesting. Yeah, if we all get more insight into ego, that is always very cool and welcome.
Okay, here we have my second I'm gonna kill you. This is right when at the start of PXG, Rins again tells he'll kill him, so that's 2. And then 153, this is not Rin speaking. Sorry, I get hung up on this, and now I want to know.
No, that's all good. No, because it's so funny and so specific that it's like, you gotta find it. Like, I need another I'm gonna kill you.
It's 180, so it's this page here.
Um, in the future says, I think Izuki and Ego will pour out their takes on Ego and might get more in depth with Ego Japagshi before the England match. Okay.
Wait, let me
Yeah.
just see what the actual translation is. This doesn't quite make sense. Where are we now? This is volume 29. Okay, no, that's not. That doesn't help. Where are we? It's volume 30.
Actually, okay if I take a quick bathroom break?
Yes, absolutely. Sorry. Go ahead, please.
Sure, I'm good.
There, nope,
I'll be
that's
back, Pat.
Ness. Yeah, this is. Oh, wait, that's. Yeah, there you go. Third one. I'll curse him to death. Okay, that's my. I hope chat is sufficiently entertained. But yeah, let's see if there's anything. So, also following up on the id versus ego, I've want to at some point. I've got a number of these ideas on videos that I'd be interested in doing, but they would cost me a lot of work and they would perform very poorly, which is never a motivating factor. But I'd love to actually sit down and look at psychology and psychoanalysis, because Blue Lock, of course, people have said Blue Lock is a very Freudian story, right? It's even from the idea of Izuki has to quote unquote kill his father in Noah, the whole idea of ego, that is of course coming from those traditions. And I'd love to just sit down, actually read some more on psychoanalysis, and also specifically on how psychoanalysis and psychology developed in the Japanese tradition, to kind of see in Japanese scholarship, to see, okay, what is Blue Lock actually responding to, whose ideas is it using, and what does it say about how Kaneshiro is positioning his story in kind of a broader intellectual context, which is, yeah, that's a lot of work. But ego versus id, if that comes in, then of course that's a clincher for, okay, we should actually be reading, everyone who interprets Blue Lock should be reading their Freud and Jung and God knows what. What
I am back. We are both to have one third one.
Yes, I did it. It's over. Oh, sorry, not here. It's after he's stopped once by Igaguri. He goes, "That monk, I'll curse him to death."
Okay, yeah. I figured you'd get that one, but I love your commitment to, like, I'm gonna find the exact moment.
Okay, so what else? Rin destroys the PXG system. See, this is back when there was that two system, the Rin system, the Shido system, and I thought that this would... My expectation was we'd get that at the start, and then at some point PXG evolves to destroy the status quo and merge the systems, but instead they were merged from the very start, so that unfortunately didn't happen. Shara's dream is revealed. No.
Oh no, we didn't get it. Dang. And we didn't even get it now.
No.
Yeah, so they're keeping it under lock and key.
Yeah, exactly. Because dreams are, of course, a very big thing throughout the story. So I figure there's a good chance, but we actually
Mhm.
didn't get as much out of him as a character as I thought we would, given the way he was really presented at the start of the match as this pivotal figure for PXG. But yeah, it's turned out
Yeah,
that indeed Rin and Kaiser would be the more important characters in the match.
yeah.
And then finally, Hyori abandons Isagi. Again, wrong
Hmm.
France match.
Yeah. If only, yeah. We both had one where we were just a bit too early on what we thought was going to happen. How many did you get?
Four in the end, so you definitely did a lot better than I did. Well
Yeah,
played.
you definitely did go a lot more specific with yours, so that's fair enough. Yeah, I did go a bit broader, so like even the three death threats, like you were like, it has to be three.
Well, maybe there's more, but at least three.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I'm glad we at least got that. I'm glad we finally got to come back to these bingos. It took another France match for us to finally get to come back to them.
We might have to do one
Yeah.
again for the next major match. I'm assuming that after the preliminaries, the matches will get longer, so we could put something together again at some point.
Yes, yes, I'd definitely be down to do another bingo. And we also have our general World Cup bingos that we did for Arrow's channel.
Oh,
So
that's right. Yes. I probably do very
yeah.
poorly on that as well. But
You
my one,
yours is making me cackle. Like you were so specific, so many kind of them. I was like, oh my gosh, that is so funny.
but wait a minute, there's one that I was very proud of because it was a deeply specific one that I actually got very early on. There we go.
Oh,
Uh, where is. Yes, this one. Bachira scores Japan's first goal.
oh, okay, yeah, you did get that one. Nice, nice.
That,
Good job, good job.
I'm not going to get anything else probably from this bingo, but at least that one thing I've got in my pocket.
Yeah, I think I got it too, which is the U Japan team gets huge sponsorship, and then I got two new gens on one team.
Oh, sick.
So yeah, I'm sad though because I put Hiyori scores a winning goal. So even though he scored, it wasn't a winning goal. So I am sad that,
Oh.
I was so close yet so far.
But the U20 World Cup isn't over yet. We've got, what, six more
Yes,
matches?
we still have lots of time. So there's plenty of time to still get more.
Sneck says three is a good number in Buddhism, though, so that fits it in.
Oh,
There you
nice,
go. Love
nice.
it.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah. So we've been going for 2 hours. Serena, do you have some final thoughts? Some other things you'd like to discuss before we wind down?
I'll give my final thoughts. I mean, in general, like I said, like this isn't like one of my favorite matches, but I don't think it was supposed to be. I think we had briefly talked about it before we started the call, but I think we both agreed we like the Nigeria match more. And I think inherently there was more like emotion put into the Nigeria match. Like you feel like you get to know the Nigeria team so well and you get to feel so connected to them as characters. And I think that was done purposely because we're
Yeah.
probably never going to see them again, you know? So it was purposely made that, so much emotion was put into their characters because, we're going to see Yugo, we're going to see Charles, we're going to see Loki like in the future at some point. So, but I do like the fact that like Ego's philosophy and sort of the Blue Lock philosophy was like challenged in this arc. We got to see Izuki challenged. Like I said, I thought this was more so addressing a lot of fans' concerns and thoughts over the years when it came to the philosophy in Izuki. Like it was more so like giving answers to questions that people have had for years now in the fandom and
Mhm.
finally being like, okay, the author Kanashiro being like, I see what you guys are saying. Here are my answers to the things that you guys have been asking for years and kind
Yeah.
of finally like answering those. So I like that about the France match. But yeah, I thought it was a perfectly fine match. But I would say that, I liked Nigeria more, and I think I'm probably gonna like the England one more.
I can imagine so as well for myself. Same. Um,
Hmm.
I really, really like Nigeria match just in general. So
Yes.
that's
Yeah,
maybe
it's
not
so
fair to compare,
good.
but yeah.
Hmm.
No, and I
Hmm.
guess I feel France, it definitely, once I reread the whole thing, it's you see a clear vision. It's very purposeful. It's setting up a lot of stuff, so it's by no means a bad match or anything. And I'm sure we'll get a lot more out of these characters further down the line.
Yeah, it's more like planting a seed than
Yeah.
like a fully bloomed, realized thing like that the Nigeria match was, for example.
Yeah, exactly. I see Hope in the future says the new Blue Lock starts from here. That's what I expect as well, that England is where they reinvent themselves.
Yes. Oh, someone had asked earlier what the predictions were for the next chapter. I don't know if you ended up answering that.
No, I didn't. Um, I guess there's two things. One, of course, is we find out what ego is, which would be big if true. I would
Hmm.
love to see, because Karas said, okay, we need to open up, we have to have a heart to heart. I'd love to see that happen as well, because the match started with Isagi's insecurities, and to get maybe that from other players, I'd really be just to see some more vulnerable sides from a lot of the Blue Lock characters. That'd be enjoyable. I think that would really flesh them out. So that I'd love. And then the third thing, at some point, we will just have to have the introduction of a major French player, some scene hyping them up, maybe a chapter with results from the other matches like we had post Nigeria. That might be next week as well. So those are my predictions.
Oh, okay, nice. Yeah, I do just want to slightly expand on the second thing you said. I did also notice, like, pick up on Karasu saying, like, let's open up and like talk about our feelings. Because I feel like, especially for this to be like a shonen sports manga
Yeah.
with like a bunch of like teenage boys, I think it is very cool to kind of have like, it would be nice to kind of see them having a heart to heart moment and being like, this is my feelings, this is what I'm dealing with and all that stuff. I don't know if we'll get all of that like in the next chapter and stuff, but I think it would be cool in future to kind of see more of that, of like, teenage boys in a shonen manga to be like, this is exactly what I'm feeling right now, and to, talk about the anxieties and the insecurities and maybe things that they're feeling and all that stuff.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Blue
Hmm.
Lock in general is quite an like emotionally mature story in ways that it tackles a lot of really serious issues. It tackles all kinds of trauma in complex ways, and that's something I really enjoy about it.
Hmm.
I just see, by the way, in the chat, Zamp3999. Hi, I'm a psychologist and I'm game if you need help for the psychoanalysis influence on Blue Lock video. Please put a comment in the video. And I might, if I ever decide that I have the time for that, I might genuinely follow up. Yeah, thanks so much for the offer.
Very cool, very cool. But yeah, that's pretty much my final thoughts on everything. I'm excited to see where things go. And in general, I do want to get more back into making content and being involved with the community. So I definitely think finally catching up on the manga, I was like, it made me remember, like, I love Blue Lock and I
Yeah,
do love these characters. So I do want to like get more involved and talk more about them again and all that stuff.
brilliant. Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to that, Serena, to more from you.
Yes.
Great. So thanks so much for making time. Thanks everyone who joined chat, who even if you just lurked, it's been nice hanging out. I've started working on my France video that will probably because I made a post about this, it'll be shorter than, let's say, the Nigeria video, I assume. Although I've been wrong about this plenty in the past. And I expect, when will it be out? I don't think I'll have it done next weekend. Probably the one after that I will. And then it goes to the editor. So expect it in about, 2-3 weeks-ish. So... Oh, Serena, you got a new sub. Yes.
Yes, I know.
Subscribe to Serena. She's great. And then I'll talk to you all later. Take care.